Thank you so much for being back. And if it is your first time, welcome. But first and foremost, and most of all, congratulations. If you're listening to this message today, you just so happen to click on this video, it's time to get excited, buddy. I set out the intention that this episode find the ones that have officially stepped into the flow, a sovereign and lighter version of their life. This is going to be a message of victory. It's not a message of hope, not a message of strength, a message of completed success and confirmation of victory. But most importantly, this whole episode is going to serve as a map, a guidance, and a guideline on how to navigate, fully recognize, and handle this new season of our life that so many of us find themselves in this like juicy, softer, more effortless version of living life, where now learning will happen through community, through friends, through support, joyful experiences, versus when growth used to happen through challenges and survival almost all of the time. I know that you know. I know that you've been there, man. If y'all listening to this, I know that you have been there. Before we get started, I want you to know that the battle is over. Like, let's take a moment to together fully let that sink in. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. You have been cleaning up and removing the dust that I mentioned in the previous episodes, right, from the countertops, so that now we can place the decorations. You have been doing the inner and the outer work. You have been seeking God and yourself, and you have been seeking righteousness. And it has been a long way. It has not been easy by any means, but it's now finally time. That righteousness is seeking you back. We just flipped the switch. flip.
I don't know nobody else that's doing this. Body start to drop, hey, hit the floor.
Hey, okay, so there you have it. We're going to now begin our journey, and in doing so, I am going to be utilize a metaphor throughout actually the entirety of the episode as the foundation for what we will explore that will bring the bigger picture together. That's gonna make it all so freaking crystal clear, my dear. How would you like your nails? crystal clear. Okay, boom. I'm choosing to use a metaphor because that is more of a universal language, since I'm not speaking to one specific individual, but a group of you guys. And also, sometimes less is more. And what we really need is always hidden in plain sight. However, yes, of course, I will get into details as the more that we go along this journey. And I also will give real life examples. Also, last but not least, you guys, I know that sorry, I have to say this and get it out of my head. I am working on summarizing things, but it is just the way it is. It's just who I am. But I want to make it clear that this is not only going to be a confirmation, a map, but also a reminder, right? Because it doesn't matter how much one may or may not know, or how much you may be fully aware of this new season of your life or not. Long story short, we can always all use a reminder, right? Because little parenthesis here, but forgiveness is one of the most common weapons of the opposition. I don't even want to call it the enemy, quote unquote, because I feel like negative energies are more at war with themselves than anything else. So we're not at war with them. This is more about flying past and beyond and above all of that. So without further ado, hallelujah, let's get started. And what better place to start than the beginning, aka stage 1. So let's pretend that we are all diamonds. Just visualize yourself as a diamond, all right? That though decides to embark on this journey on earth. So here we're quite literally going to picture the ground, the terrain, the soil, the mud, the rocks and everything else in the walk of life, rolling forward, and most importantly, on remembering who you are, like that you even was a diamond to begin with. Because the dirt and the mud can, get so much that there is almost, it literally, the diamond is going to just look like a rock. So easily, we're going to understand that as the diamond rolls through the mud, it is going to start getting covered by it. And the mud, right, is sticky icky. And so sometimes the rocks that are in the terrain ends up attaching to the back of the diamond, and it just gets very heavy to keep on rolling, keep on moving forward. Eventually, it may become hard for it to even remember or believe that it was a diamond to begin with, because the more that this mud accumulates on it, the more the diamond is just going to start looking like a rock or feeling like a rock. So the important part here is to not place your identity into thinking that you have been just this ball of dirt all along and you need to go find the light, when really the whole process is just remembering and believing that you are the light, and learning how to clean and dust yourself off of all the things that not only do not belong to you, but are not ideal. This is the dragon stage, the one that we all know a little too well. So this stage, right, walking through the mud, is the trial by fire, but also the battleground. So the trial by fire is something that is designed and intended by God for our growth, by learning, quote unquote, the hard way, and also by learning the darkness so that we know how to handle it and transmute it. So we also doing a service to the heavens, because by facing something, that's how you learn how to best, handle it, right? We turn the negative into the positive. So that is the trial by fire, and it is also a little bit of a test. If you was to forget who you are, if you was to be brought down time and time again in attack, would you still believe, right? Would you walk by faith and not by sight? I believe it in spite of everything. So that's the trial by fire. But we also have the battleground in the same breath. The battleground, that one is not necessarily brought or designed by God. The battleground is exactly what it sounds like. Is the attacks, is the opposition, and it literally happens simultaneously to your trial by fire. So it's the same territory where everything just happens at once, and that's why at times it can get so very hard. And it's not just the rocks that you have collected, but it's also the rocks that tried to collect you. Ooh, that's the difference. Okay, you guys? Really ponder on those words. And the battleground is the terrain in which the enemy that wants you to believe that you are a rock, that wants you to forget your path, that does not want you to transmute the darkness into the light, has its chance to do so. Some of us are assigned to have the most trenches road, right? It's like if there is this big forest and then there is different sections of the forest. One may be a little more muddy than the other one. Some diamonds are designed to go through the battleground more drastically, not because it's a punishment, but because it is an assignment. Along this journey, though, the stage one, of course, it's not all bad. Of course, there's going to be moments in which it starts raining and the half of the mud that's on our back, washes off, and we are able to start believing again a little bit more, to see ourselves. But it's still overall going to be a messy process, because guess what? Yes, you just got washed off half of it, but you're still in the dirt. So as you keep rolling, guess what's going to happen? Because you wet. All right. Okay. So this is the first stage. It's the stage in which, all hell and heavens break loose. It's just a big old pot of whoa, human experience to its fullest. But it is also the longest stage, and it is also the stage that is the absolute hardest to overcome and get past, because a lot of times it gets so heavy and hard that we just decide to stop rolling. We decide to stop moving. And I'm going to go more into detail about this stage a little bit farther on in the podcast, and it's going to really get beautiful. But for now, I want to keep it flowing. I want to kind of like go on to the second stage. So, like I mentioned, eventually, if you continue on rolling, if you do not stop, no matter how hard it gets, you kept pushing, no matter how heavy it got, no matter how blurry it got, you kept on rolling. And eventually, after you keep on rolling, you reach the river. You reach the water, you guys. And this is stage two, aka the flow. So you picture this diamond falling into the water and getting washed off clean. It feels like it literally just hits you all at once, like light bulb moment. It's like clarity. And it seems like it's all of the sudden, right? However, we know that it was not sudden whatsoever. It's been a result of our resilience. It's been a process. It's been a self discovery. It's been a learning to dance under the rain, which then in turn helped remove some of that mud from the surface of the diamond. Now you're literally just being carried where you need to eventually go, which is going to be the third stage. But okay, let's get back to the present moment. Now you're no longer covered by illusion, and there is no more rocks heavy on his back. And of course, this doesn't mean that there's not going to be challenges. But what it does mean is that when the challenges will have a much different form, much less drastic, and at the very least, when you do encounter the challenges in the river, you're going to still always pretty much have the awareness of who you really are. Like you're at least gonna be able to see the truth. You're going to go at a much faster rate, at a much faster pace, okay? But however, even if it's faster, it's gonna feel like it's lighter because the diamond, it is gonna be lighter. It's floating in the water. And it can finally kick its feet back, whistle and look up at the blue sky, and sometimes allow itself to surrender and let the water do the work, quote unquote, for him and carry him. And look at the sparkles of the sun on the surface, on his surface, newly cleared surface that is sparkling, and really sit there to enjoy its colors because it knows finally that after all, it truly for once feels really safe. We know that, even first of all, even in the first stage, there was absolutely beautiful moments, right, where maybe you find a flower in the middle of the mud, and other people motivate you, and you just find the joy in the little things, the big things, of course, because the first stage, honestly, by the way, is one of the longest ones. It can last half of someone's life, honestly, decades, 7 years, 5 years, it depends, but it can be very long. So we know that throughout the battle, we still sometimes even enjoy the battle. Like we're like, okay, let's fucking do it, like Spartans. But in the river, we finally realized that there is almost no more need to fight. And this is one of the biggest giveaways of the river season, that you're no longer going to be under attack. You might have your own challenges as far as human goes, but the attacks are almost completely gonna be gone. They're not really allowed in the river season. Now it's just only you versus you and nothing else. Well, in the river, it was you versus you and the motherfucking rocks that didn't want you to find yourself. With this being said, the river is still only a transitional season, that it eventually takes you to I'm not gonna say it, but it eventually takes you to somewhere. So, but it is a beautiful journey, because the river is when you're like in the in between, right? So it's not extreme of the scale of the first stage, and is not the full combination of the third stage, but it's that beautiful harmony in between the two, in which you really just learn to steer the steering wheel and are much more capable of managing life and yourself, and you have gained wisdom, and you also are starting to see the fruits of your resilience. You're starting to see your own light, and no, not everything is going to be perfect, and yes, you're still trying to go get it, quote unquote, but at least now you are feeling God, and you're feeling yourself, and you're feeling like you're getting closer, and sometimes that's all it takes. You just seen some type of very significant positive change. It feels different, it smells different. I know that if you guys are in that river season, you know exactly what I mean. Also, the beautiful part about being in the flow, in the stream, in the second stage, is that even if you get knocked off course for a little second, there might be a rock that comes by, right, and knocks you off course. It is a huge milestone that you have arrived to this river in the first place, because getting to the second stage is not a guarantee at all. And there is many people that unfortunately do not reach the river. However, once you are in the river, arriving to the third stage is almost a guarantee. So this is a huge, huge, huge deal. And that's why they say that the hardest part is now behind you. Because the hardest part was always going to be the battlefield in stage one, because that was the only one that was really had the highest chance to keep you there stuck forever. And we're going to talk about what are two of the main ways, common ways, in which a diamond may get stuck forever into stage one, a little bit more down the road of this podcast. Actually, a post found me today on Instagram on my timeline that was literally explaining this river season. Like, kid you not, you can't make this shit up. And before I read the post, though, I forgot that I wanted to mention when I was talking about the only thing that can stop you in the river is you, is because the only way you can do that is when you start swimming against the current. But let's read the Instagram post, and then after I read this, I feel like I summarize the river season pretty well as far as metaphor goes, and then I'm gonna go on to either explaining what is the third stage or giving real life examples of the river season. It depends on how I'm feeling, because both of those are gonna take a very long time, so I don't know which one is better for me to speak on first. Anyways, here is the Instagram post. And it's by Activation Vibration, I guess is her page. Okay. You don't always recognize your mission while you're in it, but there is a calling that you cannot deny. It grips you out of nowhere. Bro, you guys, I just was saying about the out of nowhere, like it all hits you all at once. And what is wild is that I literally have proof, but I actually recorded this podcast episodes like a week ago, but like I didn't like it how I explained it. So I'm just like re-recording it today. But okay. It grips you out of nowhere, and it hits something so deep in you that you feel it before you can even explain it. And the more you trust it, the more everything starts meeting you there. The right people come onto your path to meet you, to support you, move you forward, and remind you who you are. Every time you make a move, a new step will appear, which is also something that I heard from a different YouTuber, perhaps maybe a month ago. And she was saying the path is going to be revealed as you walk it, not beforehand. You got to start taking the steps, and it's going to be revealed as you take them. Okay, so Every time you make a move, a new step will appear. It's not supposed to make sense to others because you're doing what has not been done before. Let your way confuse them. They will see in due time. And now I'm getting goosebumps because I didn't even notice this part of the thing. Like I mentioned, you guys, I already filmed this podcast prior hand, and this is something that I'm also going to address towards the end of the podcast. Anyways, let your way confuse them, they will see in due time. There may be moments where it feels off, but everything is working out. Best case scenario. Whoa, more goosebumps because I literally want to do a tattoo that says best case scenario on my arm. There will be what feels like detours. Not you guys. Yeah, I'm tripping because this is my first time reading the whole slide, like in real time, real live, like reaction. Didn't I just say being detoured when the rock hits you in the water? Yo, this is beautiful. By the way, I reshared this post on my Instagram today earlier, but I didn't read it all. Okay. This is the part where it all comes together and everything adds up. Like I said, it feels like it all hits you at once. Is the clarity, and it's just gonna make sense, you guys. Is the big fucking picture. It's time to honor your incarnation and leave what you came here to do. Everyone with a pure heart is a light warrior, and we are all here to serve different missions. The greatest protection you can have is gratitude. Somehow it all turns out even better than you expected. Okay. Well, wow. What a beautiful Dolces in Fundo, you guys. Like, need I say more? So also, I want to affirm to you guys and reiterate to you guys that when you when you are in your new season and path of abundance and finding yourself, the first days and weeks of it, right? And time is relative once again because sometimes it takes I mean, let's not even talk about time, please, because that's going to be a whole different topic and I don't want to branch off. Anyways, the initial stages, let's call it like that, the initial stages of getting into new chapters, positive, beautiful chapters, you're going to feel very physically tired and perhaps sometimes even mentally. That is because your nervous system is literally recalibrating to new patterns and new connections in your neurons. And it's like a renovation, right? Remodeling a home is never easy to remodel, to demolish, to bring down a wall, to create more space, right? To clean. And so even once everything is cleaned and you start being in the river, you know, moving the furniture in, the furniture is heavy. Like just remodeling in general is not easy. And if that applies to a house, it also, you know, that's just a freaking house. Go figure. So you're gonna feel very sleepy. When you finally reach a state of safety, your body collapses because it's almost like it has been in survival mode this whole time to get to the river. So you almost had this like extra human power that got you to where you needed to go. And now that you're allowed to flow with the river, your body's gonna crash. But also, you're going to feel extremely wired and laser focused in your purpose, your mission, and then eventually the most healthy that you have felt in a while. So do not let this tiredness, this dragging, this make you feel like you're going backwards or anything like that, because that's something that I tend to do and mistake. Like even right now, these days as I'm recording these and I know that I'm in the river, finally fully conscious of the fact that I'm in the river. I've been believing that I'm in the river for some time now, but I wasn't this sure until literally maybe 3 to 4 days ago, and more so the beginning of 2026 as well. But like and as we're speaking, like it's the April 4th right now, but I had this full on realization and this big waterfall moment, like I mentioned, on April the 1st. So it's important, very important in life to recognize the purpose behind things, because there are so many things that on the surface look identical or similar to each other, but really when you look at it from a deeper perspective, they're almost opposite, right? So This is a good being tired. This is a good feeling a little like you want to slack, right? All right. So, okay, you guys. So, it's finally time to talk about the third stage. By the way, good morning. I just woke up. The third stage is the famous promised land. So the diamond, after flowing in the river and going with the waves, seeing where it wanted to take him all along, her, the diamond, it arrives in a territory where not only you get to see your seed blossoms, but you also get to eat the fruit, the fruits of your labor. The promised land is essentially where God literally shows off and shows out, where it shows you just how good it truly gets. And you're fully rooted in your mission, you're fully rooted in yourself, you're fully rooted in your destiny, in your cup being filled and your heart feeling complete. um I mean, that's the goal, ain't it? That's the motherfucking goal. You get to bear the fruits of your labor because you already have been planting seeds for some time, even throughout the first and the second stage, right? It's a little bit like those flowers. I don't remember their names. It's like the ones that you blow, the poofy ones, and you blow them, and like it flies everywhere. So like especially when you're in your river season, your seeds are gonna start blowing up in the air, like your rays of sunshine, right? From a diamond perspective, it would be like the rays of light that the diamond emits when the sun touches it, right? When when God touches you, when the truth touches you, when inspiration, motivation touches you, when your mission touches you, when all of that, right? Your sunbeams, they know where to go, your seeds know where to go, and they fly towards the promised land that is awaiting you. And each one of us has our own personal individual square of land, okay? Now, the promised land is not the only land in which we'll find ourselves in life, cultivating seeds and ideas or people or situations in. It's not the only terrain in which we will see something blossom, but is the ultimate terrain, is our truest home. There's not one thing or one person, or is literally all of it at once together. It's an ensemble of all the things that you want, desire the most in life, literally becoming real life. So, yes, it is being with the love of your life, the person that sets your soul on fire in a very healthy relationship. It is having a career that fills your heart up and your purpose up. It is helping others. It is everything you can possibly imagine because, and we're going to address this very soon, but I know that we are instilled to believe that too good to be true is wishful thinking. But that is what society has told you all along. God tells you, how high can you go? The promised land is a territory in which all of the different pieces that belongs to it click into place to formulate the bigger picture. With all the different pieces of the puzzle that you have collected along the journey is when you get to have your cake and eat it too. Let's get back real quick to my metaphor method though. Let's get back to the visualizing of the river, the land, etc. So it's like where this river streams, right? This river ends its course and takes you to the land of the promised lands, plural. So just imagine this humongous field, right? It's not the muddy, drained, hard rocky terrain of stage one. It's literally quite the opposite. The flowers, the grass, all of the good stuff. But it's this territory in which, though, this is the little twist. Each of us has their own individual plot of land, of territory, their own individual square of land with their name written all over it. That is custom made, custom designed, tailored to you and your unique seeds, to you and your unique mission and your unique desires and your unique gifts. Is literally your promised land and nobody else's. We also are all equipped from the beginning, from the jump, stage one, with seeds, specific, once again, individual seeds to your own self that only you carry, that, you guessed it, will reach their maximum capacity and sprout and blossom in your own promised land. Because the specific seeds are going to need also a specific territory, a specific soil, right? If you put them in a soil that is a little too humid or too dry for the specific seed that you have, it's either not going to sprout at all or barely. So if you along the way end up planting your own seeds into someone else's promised land, or sometimes even like at the beginning, we try to plant the seeds into the mud stage and nothing comes out and we wonder, ooh, why nothing is coming out? I'm doing everything right, like, well, all right. Before I continue on this train of thought, let me correct myself because I kept saying planting your seeds, right? It's not only about the planting, but also just as much about cultivating them. So, because the seeds take time to sprout and grow, and they require care, they require, being watered and etc. After we put in the time and the effort and we watered this terrain, we might not see results at all, or we might not see the results that we thought that was going to come out of it. And that is not a punishment, but is simply a redirection. It is an arrow that is pointing you, though, towards your promised land, the territory that is going to give you that result that you expected, and then some. It's going to exceed your expectations. However, this, of course, can be a very tedious process, more so because it can take even years for us to realize, wait a minute, because the seeds take time to sprout. And usually it doesn't take as long as years. But however, especially if we're indoctrinated that things that are too good cannot be true, and if we're just believing that essentially this is as good as it gets, once we see something blossom from the ground, even if it is not really what we wanted, we're like, oh, well, but okay, this is how life goes. I'm going to stay here. The times we feel bad about leaving the land behind that we, because it's not giving us the results that we needed. But all along, we're hurting that land way more by forcing our seeds into it, and because that land is somebody's promised land, that land is perfect for someone else's seed. But if we are there, and we can talk about, it could be like a career, like a job position that you're taking up for somebody else, right? It could be a person, of course. It could be literally anything in life. You guys, once again, I speak universal language. You can apply these teachings to so many different things in life. That's why I like to speak metaphors, because this is so generalized that you can apply it to so many different scenarios. So I urge everybody to stop clinging on to fear and go find the promised land that is going to give you everything you want and then some, so that everybody then can have the chance to truly find their plot of land and balance can be restored. This third stage is where we're headed. With that being said, it doesn't mean that we have never encountered glimpses of it, of our promised land, throughout the other stages of life. Because number one, at the end of the day, the promised land has always been inside of us. It's always is a part of you. There is no separating, right? It's always been calling you from within. At the end of the day, that and God is the ones that have kept on calling you towards it, towards home, towards it's from the beginning, is that little crazy voice that didn't allow you to give up in the mud. Is that motivation, is that vision, right? And as I mentioned, there is moments in your life in which you are going to encounter pieces of your promised land throughout your life, which then you will take with you to the promised land. So, for example, my son has always been a big piece of my promised land. When I was in the mud, when I was in the river, when I like through all the stages now, that's a piece of my promised land that's always been with me and that it has fully materialized and is gonna continue on coming with me. Now when I reach the physical promised land, the word perfect, because we all know that perfect does not exist, but if there is one place that it gets the closest possible to perfection, is definitely going to be the promised land. And it is what some people would call quote unquote too good to be true. Oh my God, can we talk about the too good to be true? Like, we have been so indoctrinated to believe that once again, having it all is wishful thinking. We have so been indoctrinated to believe that having it all is superficial, or that has been instilled in us by society and by our own experiences of society. You guys, keyword is society here, okay? Your disappointments did not come from God. The phrase is too good to be true doesn't belong in God's kingdom, and it surely does not formulate from Him. I want you guys to know and understand that those beliefs was instilled purposely by the evil fucking bitches that are that have been trying to be the only ones in power. You've seen the Epstein files, right? Now, I don't want to go conspiracy theory, blah, 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 blah. I know that a lot of the time the governments do actually care. I know that not everything is black or white. I know that there is a gray in between. I know that not everything is, the battle between light and darkness. There is just a lot of like human misunderstanding and misconception that goes on in between. But however, there is also the black and the white, the evil and the good. We've seen how some of the people, most influential ones that have been running this country, was literally evil, doing satanic rituals on children while eating. I don't even want to say it. I don't even, that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I should need to say about it in order to get you guys to understand that a lot of the beliefs that has been instilled in us from this society was not for our good. It was not, they did not care about you or us as a collective. And they was the only ones that thought that they could have it all. But guess what? They still could never have it all, because number one, look at that. They are just as ugly on the inside as they are on the outside. Sorry, not sorry. And they're rotten inside. They are rotten inside, and they're stealing everybody else pieces of diamonds, right, and sparkles, especially the ones that they manage to break. Right, when they manage to break a diamond into a million pieces, then they all grab the pieces of the diamond and they glue them to themselves. But really, all along, they're just pieces of shit, pieces of dirt that glue these fucking diamonds on themselves to make themselves look sparkly. Okay, so it's very, 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 very essential for you as a diamond to never, number one, don't let nobody break you, and number two, don't identify yourself as a piece of dirt. You're a diamond, and we need as many diamonds shining their light on our communities as possible. We need as many God warriors to be triumphant. There is nothing wrong with having, you guys, okay? We as healers and light workers and people of God, sometimes, most often than not, and I'm somebody that also has gone through that, but sometimes we associate the feeling of heaven in abundance with, greed, or because there is so many people that misused that abundance in history. There are so many people that is filthy rich and they're literally evil and they're assholes, and there are so many people that just takes it all for themselves, that it's kind of like instilled in our consciousness that we don't want to be like that. Like, we're like, oh yeah, nah, like, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with being humble and being happy with the little things that you have. whatsoever as well. But it's also absolutely nothing wrong for God's people to have everything that they want and they need and then some, especially if you have been going through the lack of things that you may need or require, and you have kept your head high. I haven't bought like new clothes for myself in like I don't even know how long, like I'm talking about like maybe a year or more. And obviously it's not just about clothes or material possessions. I've went through the lack of a lot of things, even as far as there are things that cannot be bought in life that are priceless, right? However, like I cared, but I don't care because I'm still always so very grateful of the small and big things that I do have. Like, I don't, like I don't mind. But like at the same time, I know that just because I don't mind, that doesn't mean that I need to continue forever on existing in this lack when I know that I could literally have it all and then some. And then when I have it all, the best part is that I can help others do the same and give stuff to them. Like that is literally like the best feeling, you guys. So there's nothing wrong with God's people having it all. Because quite frankly, when we look at God's creation, literally God's creation, abundance is literally one of the number one things that you're gonna notice across all of it, that has to do like literally like infinity in form. Try to count the sand at the beach, try to count the leaves on a tree. Like God is an abundant being, and so you should be too. To top it off, when the people of God reach that abundance, right? Those fruits from their promised land, they're able to bless others with the same. And so yes, the promised land, given real life examples, it is the dream career. It is doing what makes you feel fulfilled. It is having the abundance internally of love and God, but also externally of money and being able to bless and help others. It is having the relationship with the person that sets your soul on fire and makes you want to like fuck them from Monday to Friday and just like that you're so extremely in love with. It is the having literally like everything. Like when you guys like the promised land, it is not called promised land for fun. Okay. So there's all these little elements of it. And sometimes as we go through the other stages, there is some pieces and parts of it, people or situations from these elements that come to you as you are in the other stages, that tries to catapult you into skipping all the bullshit and just getting straight to it. The thing though, most often than not, the problem is that we are not equipped to handle those or see those, or we don't have enough like knowledge, will, and strength to cater to those pieces of land that come to us. Or we may already be busy like catering to a little uh, piece of grass that we found in the mud, in the muddy terrain in stage one, that we found this little piece of grass and we're like, oh my god, yay, here it is. Let me build my entire life on it and like put my seeds in it and water them, and this is like where I'm supposed to be. I found this little piece of grass, when really all along, eventually we realized that we're meant for an entire field full of sunflowers and roses, not like some grass. And but we're busy. Like me, I used to be married, you guys. I used to have a relationship with somebody. Like everybody had a moment in their life in which they thought, okay, this is it, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is where I'm meant to be, or this is the person I'm supposed to be with, this is the career that I'm supposed to follow. And then hold and behold, it wasn't, and we realized, ah, shit. And that's exactly why our seeds did not blossom to their full capacity or at all in that terrain. It was like, once again, not a punishment, it was just a direction. It was showing you. But the thing is that, paradoxically, the same way in which we might have spent so much time trying to water and take care of the seeds, put it in the land that was not meant to carry those seeds for us anyways, right? So a career, you spend 10 years doing the same 9 to 5, the classical 9 to 5 example, 5 years, putting all your effort and your energy into it. Paradoxically, we also may not put any energy towards the glimpses of our promised land at all, to where we don't even give it a possibility to show us how good it can get because we don't even water it. We don't spend our energy on it. We don't spend our time on it. We don't spend, and we don't hang around enough. We're not strong enough to have the patience to hang around, because a lot of the times the promised land is going to be the one that takes the longest to blossom. Let me get this situated for you guys. The promised land, parts of it, little parts of it that come to you when you are in the second stage and the first stage, okay? They're going to be the ones that initially seem the most complicated. But why? Because it is by design. It's like a little test, because God is giving you a chance to like fast forward into everything good, you know, almost like skipping all of the other stage and the other bullshit. But because he's giving you a chance to skip it, it's like, all right, but the blind faith test here is gonna be like, but do you have the strength and the patience to walk by faith and not by sight, and to trust only your inner voice to know, wait, this is supposed to, this is, even if my seeds didn't sprout yet here, okay, or even if it looks like this terrain is so foreign to me that I can barely comprehend, like you know, you guys feel like the pictures that I'm trying to paint, like even if I'm gonna hang around it and see where this really, I'm gonna really give it my all, just like I gave this 9 to 5 my all, blah 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 blah, right? But most of us, what happens is that we're not equipped to do that, and we continue on fostering what we knew best. Like we continue on fostering what's familiar, what's safe, what's, you know, what we thought was the right thing to do, quote unquote. So, for example, going back to the career example, you have a 9 to 5, you've been at it for 5 years, it's like a solid job, you are having an income, but it doesn't fulfill you, you know, and you know that there is a passion project that you really want to follow that is really calling out to you, but it doesn't make any fucking logical sense, because it will entail you losing your job, not knowing where your source of income is coming from, etc., etc. And so that is that little blind faith test that God puts there. Like, it's like, do you have the fucking balls to do this shit? Do you have the fucking balls to, like, even when you don't know where you gonna land, you know that this calling was enough for you to try and jump? And the answer for most of us for a very long time has been no. But once you reach the river, the answer is gonna be hell yeah. Like the river is like where you see clearly, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and you finally know who you are, at least. Like you at least have the ability to kind of like recognize the patterns now and see the truth and be like, okay, wait a minute. So that's why, you guys, this podcast, for example, I literally shot the first episode, but not like this with no camera. Like the first episode with me and another guest 2 years ago now. I still have it on my computer, never posted it. And then after I shot it, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm too busy. I got this going on and that going on. And I don't know if this is good enough and blah, 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 blah. And I just abandoned it, right? I stopped watering my seed in my promised land. And now 2 years later, I'm circling it back around, and I'm like, wait a minute, like now that I actually stacked, by the way, it's very also it's very aligned how it all happened, because like I never even thought about doing a podcast where I'm just speaking without no camera, and it's just me talking about life. Like I knew that I always wanted to share these teachings that I've learned throughout my experiences, but I never really even saw it coming like right now. It all really happened because all of my cameras were out of order, including the one of my iPhone that was on critical chronicle full storage, and I just really wanted to talk about my festing experience. And I was like, well, how do I do it, right? And I filmed it with a camera that I actually found on the floor like months ago, but it was not a good camera, and it was completely blurry when I filmed it. And so then when I seen that the video was blurry, I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to record this again. It took a lot of energy out of me. And then I realized, wait, I still have the audio. Then maybe if I just separate the audio from the video, um, then fuck it, I can just upload an audio file. And then that's how all of this was born. But like, I wouldn't even have thought to myself to start doing this if all of those chain of events wouldn't have happened the way that they did. I would have only created a podcast that was like the episode number 1 of the Voices to the People that you guys saw. Anyways, the podcast of the Voices to the People was supposed to happen 2 years ago. So that was a little part of my promised land. And I put my seed in it. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. And I left. But this podcast, this little sparkle of my promised land that came from within, because once again, we're like diamonds, and like when the sun hits us just right, like this little moment of light that hits you from inside, you get lit up and you start and you see the reflection of your own light, of your own self, right, on the wall. Like when the light hits the diamond, then you see all of these beautiful colors that get showcased all around it. And so you see these glimpses even when you are in the mud. All of a sudden you see that pretty color, like that yellow, that green, and you're like, wait a minute, look at that beautiful light. Like, what is that? Is that and those are the little moments, the little stars, the little guidances, the little angels that keep moving you forward and keep telling you that there is a way. There is a way out of the mud. And it all comes from inside of you and from God. Because God is like the sun is the light that when it hits you just right, it reminds you who you are, and you just keep going and you keep rolling. Because you guys, I know that I had so many moments when I was in the mud stage that I just thought that that was it for me, like I seen the light. But I was like, this mud is just getting too heavy. These rocks are getting too heavy. I'm just gonna, be grateful that I have a little piece of my promised land here, which is my son. And I'm gonna try to make the best out of this mud. I'm going to try to make the mud so comfortable. Because at the end of the day, you know, it, oof. At the end of the day, here is 2 ways, which is important to, it's very important to say this. But here is 2 ways how people get permanently stuck in the mud forever or for good, right? In which it can happen. Because I didn't address this at the beginning, and I feel like it's important too. One way is through giving up, and the other way is through settling. And once again, they might sound like the same thing, but not really. So, in my world, in my way of explaining things, giving up is like when you know that you're supposed to be better or do better, when you know you believe in the vision. However, you just give up on it because you feel like it's too hard. You feel like you can't keep rolling, and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. That's it. I give up. Fuck it. I know, but I don't care. That's the giving up. The settling now, it's a little bit more tedious, it's a little bit more dangerous because you do not know that is happening. The settling is when you're convinced inside that you're doing the right thing by building a home into the mud, because some way along the route you have entirely forgotten that you was even a diamond to begin with, and so you made this first stage your permanent home because you have started telling yourself, well, after all, the mud is not that bad, it's soft. After all, the mud is fresh, and you started trying to find all of these good little things in that mud, which, by the way, you guys, is an essential. Let's get even deeper. Is essential as we go through all stages of life to be able to be grateful for the smallest things and be able to find the comfort even in the discomfort. It's very essential to be able to also enjoy the battle a little bit, the battlefield. So yeah, you telling yourself, well, at least this mud is fresh, man, fuck it. But there is a fine line between doing that and between making the reasoning of the fact that at least the mud is fresh, quote unquote, the reason of why you decide to build roots there and make it your forever home or your forever residence. And you're like, you know what? That you it's like almost like you literally start being in denial and you lie to yourself in order to preserve identity. And that is the settling, is when people go through those stages in life in which they're entirely convinced that they're doing the right thing by staying where they're at, by cultivating the terrain that they're trying to cultivate. And there is nothing that is gonna like convince them otherwise. That is the settling. At least you're like, oh, well, at least I have this. And, this is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets for me. Nothing is perfect. And here we're perfectly going to interlace into the too good to be true belief that way too many people stay somewhere even when they know it ain't right, even when they know, like, they find little reasons to, like, it's like almost like compromise. I know that a lot of times people say you got to compromise in life with things that you want. No, the compromise is being the gardener to your own promised land and during the hard work and the labor of watering the seeds. The compromise is not the result of it. The compromise comes in the work to get to the result. The compromise should not be placed in the result. Because if we all think this way this way that is like, the result that I'm gonna get is what I deserve and what I want and what I need all together. Everybody is gonna have exactly what it is that their heart and soul truly desire, exactly what it is that God designed for them. And that's how balance is gonna be restored for everybody. It's a promised land, you guys. It's not the fucking do the hard work, get the labor, and get 3 mangoes. Is do the labor and the hard work, and you get 150 mangoes, 150,000 mangoes. And is a promise that is God promised that. God does not half-ass promises. God does not play about his promises. And you know why he doesn't play about his promises? You know why are you going to get 150,000 mangoes when you get to his promised land? Because you kept your promise to God, the one that you made to your own soul. You kept your promise to God that you will never give up and you will always find and seek the truth. And that even when things will get very, very scary, you will believe in your little small inner voice that turns out is not small at all. The reason why you're going to get 150,000 mangoes in that, but God's promise, is because it took you 150,000 falls on your face to get there. But you got there. Being able to live in honor and recognition of who you really are in your own truth, being able to act on your truth, no matter what that truth looks like, that's one of the biggest breakthroughs and one of the things that's going to take the most balls to do in life. So that, and once you get there, not only you ain't gonna fall on your face almost no more, but you gonna start flying. And there is nothing that makes a father happier than seeing his children fly. especially after he had to watch them drag through the mud. God does not want you to give up right now. And shit, nobody wants you to give up right now because, like I said, once each of us individually reach our own individual promised land and we start laboring on it, we're gonna feed the whole fucking country. We're gonna feed everyone around us. Everybody, even the people that is scared to see you reach your promised land, even the people that think that if you're gonna go to your promised land, you're gonna leave them. Maybe because they're still in the river, maybe because they have a different, a different time frame. Maybe some of them, I'm sure we all had to leave people behind that was still in the mud. Maybe they didn't want to leave the mud. They was like, well, like I said, this mud is very comfy. I don't want to get out of here. And that was painful for everybody. Sometimes people judge you, and sometimes the people that judge you and don't want to see you go away, quote unquote, are the ones that are the closest to you. And it's gonna be painful, but then trust me, they're gonna be not only inspired by seeing that you reach the water with those fruits, you're going to be able to throw a lifeline even to everyone else around you that love you and that perhaps was struggling to see or believe. They're also going to no, they're going to benefit. Your story is going to inspire the other ones around you because they're going to see like, oh my freaking, like, do you guys think that for my family was in any way, shape or form, like easy for them to see me leave to the United States, like, and move to a city? I don't know. My mom being without her grandson and all. And no, it was not easy. It was not easy. She was very sad. She does say that she misses us, but now, years later, she told me multiple times, Luna, like I can see exactly why you did it. And I know that it was the right thing for you and Shaylin. I know that even him going away from our family dynamic, which at times was very like heavy, not because there was anything extremely like particularly bad going on, but it was just a heavy energy. Like she was often depressed. Nonetheless, she helped. You know what? It's like there is a season and a timing for everything in life, right? So there was a season when my son was still very newborn and he was very little, that it was very crucial and important and right for me to stay living with my mom and next to my mom because she helped in those stages in which, with a newborn and I was only 19, like it was essential for her to be there and for me to stay there. But then eventually everything does pivot and once again changes towards the direction, the ultimate destination, the promised land that we're meant to walk. And sometimes, like I said, that walk is so fucking hard. Like me quoting back to the example of giving labor, like 24 hours of labor with no pain medication. What the fuck? If you would have told me that that's how long it would have taken from the jump, I would have said, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "What?" Like, right? But that's why God doesn't show you everything right away. Oh my God. Like, I know that my river season is not going to last very long. I know that my river season is literally going to catapult me into my promised land. And then once I'm there, I'm going to, plant the seeds and everything like that. Once those um, seeds sprout, once those bloom, and you just see like how amazing it is that they're blooming and you collaborated with God on your promised land and you're gonna see the fruits of your labor and you're gonna see like just how big and juicy those fruits are, multiplying and quadruplying. Is that a word? Absolutely not. That is definitely not a word, but it's a word today, you guys. Quadruplying. You're gonna like, oh, okay, yeah, that's it. Like, there's not gonna be no more, oh, maybe if, oh, well, none of that shit. It's gonna be like, oh, I just wanna slurp on this and give back. That's the other thing. But I'm just so fucking ready because my mud stage lasted way too long. Way too fucking long. Honestly, literally most of my life, like half of my life. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like it's been a very, very long process, a very, very long labor. Nonetheless, I don't know how I didn't lose myself. And that's exactly what I was saying on episode one when I said that it's beautiful to stay with yourself. Definitely also thankfully because of God and my promised land that kept on calling out to me. They was like, please do not stop rolling. Please, girl, do not stop rolling. You're not allowed to stop rolling. And so even with the hardest fucking being forced to roll out of that mud, and God did not allow me, and I did not allow myself to believe in the mud, quote unquote. I did not make the mud my home. And now I'm in the fucking river, and I know that I am. And what the fuck? Like what? Jesus, I'm thank you God. But nonetheless, I'm still in the river. I'm still in the river, and I am itching for my promised land. Like I'm just like I'm almost like I feel like I'm in it. Like I feel like you know what it is, you guys. Sometimes when we see the next level, we see the next step, we see the next stage, right? Like it's almost like when you scroll on your phone, right? And you see this inspiring videos or posts, or like you see people essentially living your quote unquote dream and doing things that you would like to do as a career. And so it's easy sometimes to fall victim of comparison of that and interpreting those signs as a discouragement that shows us how far we still yet have to go or that we're not there yet. But don't interpret it that way. That is the wrong way to tackle it, right? Actually, it is such a good sign that you are seeing glimpses of what you're getting closer to. And those are literally like little glimpses that are telling you you're going the right direction, because the closer that you get to that reality, the more you will attract people that are living in that same reality as well. So it is also see them as a reminder. Oh, wait, yep, this is what I'm doing that for, and this is what I'm doing that for. And if they have it, then so can I. Once you get closer to your dreams, like let's imagine that they're like a big skyscraper into the horizon, right? Sometimes like big buildings like that, it seems like they're around the corner because like it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna walk 3 minutes and it's right there. And then you start taking one step, two, and three, and you realize, oh snap, it was like way farther than what I originally thought. um Also, do not let that discourage you. At least now you're seeing the damn building, because I'm sure that when you was in stage one inside of the mud, almost being sucked into the ground, you couldn't see shit at all. So I know that we all get a little bit impatient, me included. Continue to utilize this river season to just plant seeds inside of myself as well, to make myself blossom. Because you guys, maybe I didn't really say this, but the promised land absolutely also is yourself. Like you blossoming into the best version of yourself, you bringing your own self back to life, it is the promised land as well. So when you're in the river season, that is one of the things that you can cultivate the most is yourself and God. And then you spread the seeds with your dreams and the career and all of that. So, with this being said, thank you so much for listening. If you have listened this far out, wow, I even just one person, two people, three, I made my mission complete. I am going to now go hang out with my friend. And if you do carry this too good to be true belief within you, either as conscious or not. Oops. When you see this is something I recorded in my bathroom that I didn't put on my microphone. I'm actually have you guys hear it because it's kind of funny. That is what you're if if you do carry this too good to be true belief within you, either as conscious or not, when you see something that is that good, you're going to read it as danger because it's too good to be true. It's got to be a trap. That is what your mental capacity is gonna do. And so all along you just trapped your own damn self, or as DJ Khaled say it best, you played yourself. Like, don't, congratulations, you just played yourself. Don't play yourself, you guys.